Hi, this is the voice of Heidie Calero, once again with economic analysis in Puerto Rico. I know that the same as in the United States and in other countries in the world, coronavirus takes center stage. But my message is that it's not only important, the coronavirus, but we also have to focus on how to rebuild the Puerto Rico economy. Even the U.S. with President Trump is indicating that U.S. might be heading into a depression, not merely a recession, but an economic depression, and that unemployment rate could rise up to 20%. So we know the situation is very serious. There's a lockdown almost global. But we cannot just forget about the economy in terms of seeing which are the building blocks to rebuild the economy when this crisis is over, and it could take a long time. So this is the great stage for planning. Everybody take measures to really take care of the coronavirus. There are lots of measures to take into consideration. But right now I'm focusing on the economy. Let's look at rebuilding the Puerto Rico's economy and focus on the labor force, important block that will assure that Puerto Rico's economy will grow in the near term and in the next few years. This trends in labor force, which is the sum of employment plus unemployment, that's the measure of a trend of labor force. Since January 2000 through January 2020, we have seen that the employment sector has declined from 1.1 million persons working in Puerto Rico through January of 2020 to 949,000 persons, and that the unemployed, even though they have been declining from 152,000 to 95,000 in January 2020, implies that the labor force declined from 1.3 million people participating in the labor force, being employed or unemployed in January 2000 compared to January of 2020, with approximately 1 million participating in this labor force. Without growth and this big loss of 266,000 people from this economy, the economy will feel the negative impact in terms of rebuilding the economy. Let's look at another trend in terms of the participation rate, which implies, well, those people who are either working or looking for a job as a percentage of the population 16 years and over in working age. Well, what is happening in this trend, especially for men and women? Well, the blue line is men's male participation rate. From 2000, it was 59%. And in 2019 it was 47%. So a decline in this labor participation rate. And for women, it's a similar trend, although not as dramatic as for men. 35% labor participation rate in 2000 compared to 33% in 2019. The important thing is, well, what is the negative of this? Well, in 2000, almost 41% of males were not participating in the labor market, compared in 2019 to 53% that are not participating. Same thing for women. Women in 2000, almost 65% were not participating in the labor force in 2000, but now it's even more dramatic. It's 67% are not participating in the labor force. We need everybody to be working, and that means that we need not only discouraged workers, but we need jobs in order for this economy to really get going again. And for that, you need investment. The third trend that we want to focus is in terms of jobs by economic sector. We made an index, we constructed an index with January of 2000 as the index, and we divide every other month from February 2000 through December 2019 by this index of January 2000, which is the 100, and it's the line, the dashed line that you see in this graph. And we compared what was the behavior or the trend by different economic sectors. So those that are below this dashed line have not recovered, even going back to the levels of 2000. So they are really in a depressed stage, and that is government sector, which is not a bad thing, by the way. The orange line, which is construction, the purple line, which is manufacturing, important for Puerto Rico, and the red line, which is this red line is construction. So as you see, the only sectors that have been more or less stable or maintaining same levels as in 2000 were services and the commercial and wholesale trade sector. It is important for this economy to grow, to already have a plan, an economic plan. It's not just for the Supervisory Fiscal Board to be looking at the renegotiation of a public debt whose service will not be able to be sustained with an economy that is in a continued depression. I'm sure that it is going down again, but what we focus on are the building blocks to rebuild Puerto Rico's economy. In our next capsule, we will be looking at more in-depth analysis of the labor force. Stay tuned.